This is episode 2 of Lessons with Keanu. And in this video, I wanted to talk about a really interesting scenario that we recently had with a client. And, we were doing really well for him in the start. Things were going exceptionally well. Guy was getting a great return on investment. And it looked like this relationship would last for years upon years upon years based off the numbers we were bringing in. And inevitably, this client actually ended up leaving us. And this is a video that's going to be really transparent, really insightful for a lot of doctors who watch our YouTube channel. I think most marketing companies, they only talk about the highlight reel of their agency and they don't talk about the nuances, and this isn't even a failure on our company, actually. We did exceptionally well for this client, even until the end of our relationship. And I wanted to talk about why he left us, kind of the importance, the lesson that's to be had here in this dynamic, this interaction we had. So let's dive into it. So, out of respect for this client, I'm going to blur out all of the information in regards to who he is, where he's located, etc. But I can share some details, which is perfectly fine. So this client, they're in a major metropolitan area, lots of people around, a huge market, definitely a phenomenal market for implant marketing. He actually has a Clear Choice dental implant center in his backyard, and we were killing it for him. We were getting this guy hundreds upon hundreds of pre-qualified dental implant leads, and actually a lot of full arch leads as well to his practice. So just to kind of drive the point of us really having done our job well in this video, I wanted to show you guys some of the stats from his ad campaigns. And for those of you who are well versed in the dental implant space, who have been around the block for a while, who maybe have worked with other marketing companies, I think you're gonna be impressed by some of these stats. So you can see right out the gate for his full arch Google Ads campaign, we were getting him $1.12 cost per click. So, someone would go to Google, type in dental implants or full arch dental implants or replace all my missing teeth, and our Google ad for his full arch dental implants would show up. And whenever a person clicked on his Google ad campaign, it only cost him $1.12. So I really want to emphasize the importance of just how groundbreaking that is. Most advertisers in the implant space, they are keenly aware that normally implant keywords, it costs $5, $7, $10, $15 cost per click normally on Google. Yet for his full arch campaign, targeting a lot of the mainstream keywords, we were getting him $1.12 cost per click. And you can see the most important thing, the number of conversions we got him 164 pre-qualified. These were all individuals saying they were financially qualified, had funds on hand, were capable of getting approved for financing. They told us they wanted full arch implants. I mean, they jumped through a lot of hoops in our system to become pre-qualified. We got them 164 pre-qualified full arch implant leads, and the cost per pre-qualified full arch lead was $40.08. Imagine trading $40 for someone to raise their hand in your local marketplace and say, hey, I want all-on-6. I want implant snap-on overdentures. I'm potentially capable of being sold either a $12,000, $15,000, or $20,000 or $25,000 case. Imagine the power that comes with having that financial position. So it begs the question, why did this client leave, right? What happened? Why did he end up leaving us? And again, before I get to that question, I actually want to show you guys also the stats in some of his Facebook ads campaigns, okay? So we're going to change ads dashboards here, and we're going to show the Facebook ads dashboard. I'm going to blur out all of the information where he's located. Definitely spent a pretty penny with us, right? 25K on Facebook. You can see right here, these are the number of pre-qualified leads we brought his practice, 32 plus 148 plus 3 plus 391. We'll do the math on this right now and calculate the total number of pre-qualified implant leads we got him over the course of our relationship, right? So 32 plus 148 plus 3 plus 391, right? That's 574 pre-qualified implant leads off of Facebook. And that's not even including the other campaigns. I actually only have a few campaigns selected right now in the ads dashboard. And then plus 164, right? So that is 738 pre-qualified implant leads that we brought this practice. So if we did such a great job driving all of these pre-qualified implant leads to this guy's practice, it begs the question, why did he leave us? Why did he fire us? And the answer is he made the wrong judgment call. That's what the answer is. So let's talk about that. So this particular practice owner, he was used to having his general dentistry patient phone calls handled outside of the country. And he had a lot of his calls being handled in the Philippines and in India, in those two countries. A majority though of his staff sound like they were in the Philippines. And you could just tell off of their names and the meetings that we were on, etc. So what was happening is, here in the US, we have this US-based marketing team, value-driven ads, right? We're running the ads for him, getting him a ton of pre-qualified implant leads in his backyard, in his city, and we're driving all of this volume. But because the doctor, the dental entrepreneur, right, because he wanted to be cheap and outsource his calls to the Philippines, what was happening is there was this disconnect. From the consumer perspective, we were doing a good job of marketing, of getting the leads, of getting the people interested enough to reach out to the business. And, marketing and sales, right, getting the leads and then handling the phones, they are pairs. They're supposed to be a power couple, right? So the marketing is what goes out in the community, gets the people to reach out and inquire, and then you're supposed to alley-oop the marketing to the sales, and it's the sales staff, normally the front of staff in the dental practice, that books the patient, confirms the patient, uses some of our scripts to get a high show rate, and then boom, that patient shows up for the consultation, where you then have the opportunity to do a treatment plan and close. And it's at that closing where you produce ROI. And obviously, you have to look at this whole customer experience and find the bottleneck, okay? So the marketing was doing exceptionally well, but when we audited his phone calls, and he was adamant on keeping the phones outside of the US. So when we monitored the phone calls of the Philippines call center that was following up with this huge volume, right? This huge volume of implant leads that were pre-qualified, what would happen is that the person who would speak to this Philippines sales agent, right? You could just tell there was a disconnect. That person, that call center individual with this thick Philippine accent, they weren't competent on answering questions related to dental implants. They were kind of all over the place. There was some sound in the background. The connection wasn't the best. Really thick accent. And I want to put this in context here, right? Really think about the consumer that's reaching out. So here's this person who's seen some ads from the practice. And if they're serious, if they have the money, right, they're potentially considering moving forward with a $20,000 minimum, right? If it's fixed arch, a $20,000 to $25,000 surgical procedure. And the first intimate interaction they have with the business is a person who isn't competent on answering implant questions, who doesn't know all the details of the practice, who has a really thick Philippine accent, who just sounds like they're not in the practice and they're outside the country. What do you think that perception is going to do to your booking rate, to your show rate, right? And this client, with the amount of lead flow we were generating them, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going to hold no bars back. This client, based off the lead flow we were generating for him, he should have easily been capable of making $1.5 to $2 million a year off of our services. Because I have clients right now who are getting the same lead flow that we brought him, and they're making that money, $1.5 million to $2 million per year in revenue. But he made the wrong judgment call. He let us go, and he stuck to his guns and wanted to be cheap and continue to have the call center in the Philippines. And this is just such an easy thing for me to spot in the business. And I'll even take this a step further. Before his internal marketing guy, towards the end of our relationship, he hired an internal marketing guy. That person, he actually had to give me the bad news and tell us he was letting us go as the agency. And he said, you know what? In all my years of digital marketing, I've never seen a marketing firm capable of generating this much flow. And I want to let you guys know, you guys were doing your job. You were doing a great job, actually. In fact, But the real bottleneck, in my opinion, and I've already told the doctor, is the fact that we have all of the phone sales being delegated outside of the country. So here's this doctor, right? He knows the value of the lead flow coming in, but he makes the wrong judgment call. And now his real opportunity cost, because he didn't want to hire 1 or 2 US-based salaried employees, or hourly plus bonus employees, whatever it is, he missed out on probably minimum $1 million to potentially $2 million a year worth of production because he let us go and he's stuck with the people in the Philippines. And this is a really interesting case study, a really interesting dynamic. And I hope this serves as a lesson to all of you guys who watch our YouTube channel, who are up and coming dental implant practitioners or dental practice owners, right? If you're trying to scale your implant center, your dental office, and really go into this implant space, you need to have the ability to critically think and look at the correct bottleneck. And I want to push you guys to probably avoid working with a call center to nurture outbound outreach and implant leads. Although it's a thing that's advertised in the agency space, there are some agencies that generate the leads and then handle the calls for you and things like that. In my personal opinion, it's a flawed business model, because if you think about it, right, the call center individual, right? So let's say we were to offer a call center internally here at our agency. I've had a number of clients suggest that to us. Hey, Keanu, why don't you just have a call center in your agency, etc. I'll talk about that. So if you just think economically about the inner workings of that, in order for us to justify the payroll of one person, right, just to call the leads for, on behalf of our clients to nurture the implant leads, we want that person, again, to not be outside the country, ideally to be US based, doesn't have an accent, competent, we can influence them in person, proximity is power, etc. And think about, in order to justify that payroll, we'd have to have one person, more than likely, split up across a minimum of 10, realistically 20 clients calling and nurturing the implant leads for all of those offices. Now think about the problem with that, right? What happens if a patient asks a really sharp, pointed question? Hey, do you include sedation in your surgery? Do you offer IV sedation? What implants do you guys generally use? How experienced is the doctor when it comes to implant surgery, right? Because all of the most motivated implant buyers, they're going to ask smart questions because they've been doing their research on this implant surgery. Okay, so here's this person who's working at a call center or in an agency, right? And this client that I was talking about, he actually left us and went to an agency who advertises as having a call center. I think it's going to fail. I think he's completely going to fall on his face. And with this call center, right, think about the economics of this. How well trained can that one call center be on answering all of these really detailed questions for 10 to 20 clients? How can one person memorize all of the details, all of the questions associated with implant surgery and getting the patient in the practice? How are they going to memorize all the details of 20 practices or 10 practices? They're not. The answer is they're not. They're only going to have the ability to answer questions at a very shallow level and provide a very, very shallow level of customer service. And the only thing that person's really going to be capable of doing is getting the person to book the appointment. And in my opinion, it's a disservice to your practice, it's a disservice to the longevity of your business to feel the need to, in the short term, go cheap, outsource a call to a call center or this important role to a call center, and then when you listen to the phones, you hear they're butchering it, right? So I hope this video was of value. I hope this offered some insight for you guys. For those of you who are serious about growing your dental implant practices, all of our most successful clients here in the United States, all of our most successful clients, they all have 1 or 2 people manning the phones, making sure the customer service is being handled by a competent, well-trained, well-scripted individual who doesn't have a thick accent. The calls aren't being outsourced out of the country, 9 times out of 10. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it was insightful. I hope that it was interesting. Not a lot of marketing companies are willing to talk about some bumps in the road. And I hope that you guys get a feeling of a higher level of transparency from us as a result of this video. I wanted to make this series, insights or lessons with Keanu. I wanted to make this series radically transparent. And I wanted to talk about things that most marketing companies aren't willing to talk about. So that's my opinion on call centers. It's my opinion on, outsourcing calls outside of the country. Is it possible? Potentially. But in the long run, could it hurt your business? Could it be a bad business decision? Yes, absolutely. So hope you have a great day. If you're interested in potentially reaching out to us for dental implant marketing, feel free to visit startyourfreetrial.valuedrivenads.com. You can check out our implant marketing services. You can watch our other videos on this YouTube channel as well. We don't just have videos talking about client blunders, if you will. We have plenty of videos talking about client case studies, how well we do with our clients, etc. But I figured I'd change the tone on the series and kind of talk about, a really interesting scenario I came across, which was this one. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Peace.